Welcome back, everybody. Toby Wayne from Toby Wayne Studios. So the last video, my computer restarted on me in the middle of, or right as I paused it. So this is part two of painting up this Batman here. Like I said, I went out in the last video and I sealed this with a matte finish. So right now we are getting ready to apply the second, or the dark layers here on this charcoal of the cowl. I'm going to be going in with the shadows and all that good stuff. So I'm going to go ahead and get a little bit of this charcoal paint here out, which is a dark gray. It's much darker than that other one. So I'm going to have to be pretty careful when I'm working with this. I'm going to be pretty sparing with it, just to make sure. And if I can just get it in frame here, yeah, see there's the dark gray compared to the light gray. So I'm going to be very, very careful in applying this wash here. And actually, I believe that I'm going to do kind of a uh, just the washes around the eyes here, just to kind of darken things in. Like I said, I want to be very, very light-handed with this gray. This stuff is pretty light, or pretty dark, excuse me. So I've got it washed pretty deep, pretty washed out. I don't know what I'm trying to say here. I'm an idiot tonight. Just got a lot on my plate, but that might be too watery. But I'm just going to kind of get this in frame for everybody. And I'm just going to be very carefully just doing a nice wash over this in the recessed areas, the brows, around the eyes, to kind of get some nice depth going on there, some shadows. And the crevices there. And I probably am going to go over this with a sponge just all over to tie everything in. But right now I'm just kind of hitting all the shadows here in the recessed areas, the neck areas. And like I said, that's pretty washed down, so I may have to add just a touch of paint to it there. And you know what? I think I'm going to just go ahead and do some light blow drying here to make sure that it's not going to pool up like it did right there. So I'm going to just try to blend it together a little bit. You know what? I think I'm just going to do an overall blending here with this. This could make or break this piece right now. So I'm just going to get in frame, and I'm going to just start lightly blending this with this makeup sponge here. This will tie all the colors together. Kind of give them a weathered, beat down look, so that's kind of nice. Doing some blending here. And this is also nice because this takes down the bright gray that was there. Now there you see a little bit of a wash stain, which kind of sucks because that's not what I was really wanting to do. So we're going to kind of try to, let me dry it first because that's where we get into trouble. See, if I didn't have that dry and then I would try to go to add more liquid over it, it's just going to cause some major problems with the washes. So, got a little bit more on there, and I'm just going to kind of try to blend. Get in frame, Toby. Jeez. Sorry about that. It's kind of hard to keep track of the blending processes here with the cameras. Staying in frame is kind of a challenge these days, it seems. Between my GoPro and the webcams, and it sucks. I'm just trying to keep in frame. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to do another little wash here with my palette. Here you see in the bottom corner there. And I put a little dab on there, and then I kind of patted it off so it wasn't as strong. So, and what I'm going to do is once I kind of get to the desired shade that I want to get with this gray, then I'll go back in with my water brush here and I'll hit up around those eyes a little bit more. See, now I made that wash a little better. I kind of blended it a little better than what it was before. So and actually, you know what? I think I'm going to use this brush. And I'm going to come back in with in these little crevices here in his brow. I can lightly dab that because although that paint is just going to sit in those little crevices, and it'll just get darker and darker as it goes, as I paint layer upon layer. You want to get in that brow there. And this is where I want to get it in there, in his neck. I think I'm just going to do select spots here to kind of give a little bit of depth around the temples. And I see there's a little tiny build up here, so I'm going to dry my brush off, and then I can come back in and I can actually control that flow of the dark paint. Sorry if I get sidetracked here. I'm just trying to stay focused here, but yeah, it'll kind of, I can kind of just start to get that desired darkness around those eyes by using this wash here. And I have to be very careful not to overdo it because it will want to run. I'm going to just keep hitting those little grooves because the more layers I add, the deeper it's going to get, of course. And I want to come up on the insides of these ears, I think. So I'm going to try to wash this out because it kind of got a little heavy-handed in this little area. So I'm just going to kind of try to blend this shadow in a little bit. Same on this side. And I can come back in here in my name and just kind of fill in the letters here. The dark grays will flow in and accentuate my name. If I can blot that off. And I'm going to do a little bit behind the ears there. All right. Okay, so now I want to, I'm probably going to come back over this one more time with a little bit of a stipple effect going on here. Kind of gives a nice little mottled look. This Cal, especially like for me when I was watching the '89 Batman with Michael Keaton, you know, his bat suit and stuff was to me always an amazing thing. Like it just had this texture to it. It wasn't just your typical uh, you know, straight black suit. There was texture to it, even though you didn't never really got a close-up shot, especially from the VHS when I was watching it. That kind of dates me a little bit, but that's okay. Now they've got them in Blu-ray, and you can see every little crack and crevice, and it's pretty rough looking suit now when you watch it in the Blu-ray. But okay, so I got to be careful because I got a little too much stipple there with the makeup sponge, and if I didn't knock that down, then it would pool up right there and look kind of odd. So now I'm going to go back again with my dark gray. And I could really darken this up if I wanted by even doing like a black wash, but I think I'm just going to stick with the dark gray. And I think I'm going to hit up in this little area too. Underneath the chin, and and the neck. Okay. And I'm still not happy with this area, so I think I'm going to oh so gently add just very controlled washes in there. If I can keep in frame. Okay. Boy, it's interesting. When I'm watching it on this frame, like in the naked eye, just straight up as it is, it looks pretty good. When I look at it on camera, it looks really blotchy. It's very, very strange, very odd setup. But this video may just be maybe just throwing me, because most of the paints and stuff I see like that are they look like that. They look all odd. So okay, now comes the black, which I'm going to put around the bottom here, around the textured area. And actually, I'm going to have to drill that in first, I'm thinking, but I can always touch that up later. So I'm going to be very careful when I'm drilling that out. The one drawback of painting this is it's almost like a really, really aggressive drywall. So it takes a couple of coats to get all that black paint up into those little areas that I'm looking for, so that I'm not missing anything. Okay. And I may have to come back in with a fine-tune brush to make sure I get all those little areas between the gray and the black touched up around those edges. And you'll see what I'm talking about here in a second. It just looks so blotchy when I'm working on it here, but with my eye off camera, it doesn't have the blotches, so I don't know. Okay, so now I'm going to come in with my fine detail brush, and I'm going to just touch up these little spots here in the front, making sure that all of the, you can see the Bondo color gets covered. So I'll just kind of work my way around. I've been doing this Bondo technique for years where I don't know, I just like the texture of it. So makes for a nice textured edge, and I don't know, I just have always liked it. And now that I'm going back, before when I was using the Chavant clay, I couldn't really do that, obviously, because the clay in the Bondo wouldn't necessarily work. Whereas now I'm doing these original one-offs, and the Super Sculpey takes the Bondo much easier and better than clay, oil-based clay, I should say. So, all right, so there's all those little spots. Now I gotta let that dry because that's really wet still. Give me a second, please. And it's amazing how you can hold this thing at different angles and still see areas that you missed. Not just when I thought I had it all. Now I'm looking and I'm seeing areas that I missed altogether. Unbelievable. Okay, so once this is dry, now all that's left is to do the eyes. And I'm going to, and then I'll give it an overall seal job, and then I'll gloss the eyes and then the blood, and then that'll be it for this piece. So let's go ahead, and I'm going to use a little bit of oyster white this time, which is just a little bit lighter than the antique white. Antique white has more of a yellow look to it, and I don't want to do that. And I'm going to actually thin this down. So I'm going to be doing this in kind of a wash, which is actually the color that I'm using plus the water that I'm using makes it more of like a gray color, like an off gray. Boy, these are really tiny eyes, so I'm hoping that I don't mess this up. That's the smallest brush I have, so at this point. So I think I'm just going to leave it at that. I'm not going to push my luck, people. I know when I can call my end here. I'm not going to mess with that too much more. I'm just going to kind of clean that white up right there. We're going to call that good. I think I see a couple little spots that I'm not happy with for the black. And I left Bondo exposed. And there's a spot there. Couple little spots there. And I think I'm going to make possibly one more pass with this wash here of this gray right around these eyes. just to kind of drive the point home. And I'm going to get up inside of those, that little frown. That, what do you call that? The brow where it, all right, so let me pause this video. I am going to matte seal this, and then I'm going to come back and I'm going to gloss that blood, and we are going to call this sucker done. So bear with me for one moment, please. And I'm back. Got the matte finish done on this Batman piece here. Looks pretty good, I'm thinking. I'm going to go ahead and I have the gloss set up here. So let's go ahead and add a little gloss to his eyes. Give him a little life. And I also want to give him some gloss around his blood. And now that I'm thinking about it, I guess I probably could have bloodied up his suit a little better, or a little more, I should say, not better. I am going to touch up these couple little spots here of blood splatter on his chin, just to kind of give a little bit more depth. And touch up under that eye there a little bit. And I think I see one little spot that I want to touch up under that eye there with the dark gray. A little bit of the white bled through, just a tiny bit. Not bad though. And my friends, I do believe that this Batman is finished. Again, in the video, it looks really blotchy, but here with my naked eye, I'm looking at it and it looks fine. So maybe the video will show up and it'll look fine in the video once I go back and watch it again. And if not, I promise it's not as splotchy as it looks in person. I promise. I probably will be adding this to my site as an original one-off sculpt. I've had a lot of fun sculpting this guy up and painting him. Batman has always been one of my all-time favorites, so I'll probably add this piece and it'll come on a little base that'll be for display. And signed on the bottom, of course. So yeah, so keep an eye out on the website for this piece added up. I've added a new section on my website for original sculptures and toy modifications. I think currently right now I've got my Yokozuna on there, and I think I have one other piece, and then this one will go up. So I have a feeling this one will go pretty quick. But yeah, so anyway, you guys are awesome. I truly appreciate you guys. I see the new subscribers, and I really appreciate it. Feel free to share, get the word out. I'd love to grow this channel. If you guys have any questions or comments, please feel free to leave them down in the comment section below. And I will get back to you, I promise. Yeah, you guys are awesome. Thank you so much for checking these videos out. Let me know what you guys want to see in the future. I've got a bunch of other stuff coming. But if you've got suggestions, I'm all ears. This one right here. Not this one, that one. So anyway, thank you guys for checking this out, and I will catch you in the very next video.